Hi guys, welcome to Why Your Pitch Doesn't Land at Referral Networking Events. Because if you're attending a lot of networking events at the moment, hoping to build your business, inform other people about what it is you do and why they should send people to you, then you are already putting a lot of time, effort and money into building your business through referrals. And it's an amazing way to build your business without going to the expense of an awful lot of marketing. But what I notice is that there's a couple of things that if people did more consistently, they would get even better results. Hi, I'm Fraser from the Public Speaking Institute and a member of BNI, Business Network International. And what I notice each week, I get the chance to spend 60 seconds educating the room on what I do, how I do it, and most importantly, the sort of clients that will benefit from my services. Each week I also get the chance to watch other people do this. And what I've noticed in my area of expertise of communication and public speaking is there are three things that if people did on a more regular basis, were aware of and applied, that they would get much better results from their networking, from the effort, time and commitment that they are putting in, week out. If we can apply these three things, we not only increase the chances of people understanding what we do, but we raise the awareness of who our ideal clients are, the pain they're experiencing, and how we can help. So let's jump in, guys, and let's show you the three ways that you can get even more effective referrals from your networking events. Because what I notice when I'm at networking events is that people go in and they use what I call a drift net approach. They come in, they get their drift net and they drag it over the top of everybody, hoping that stuff gets caught in their net. Now, stuff does get caught in their net, but because you're drift netting, it's anything that's in the way of the drift net gets stuck. Now, that's not necessarily everything that you're looking for. Sometimes it's clients that you can't handle, sometimes it's clients that are just painful, and sometimes it's clients that you actually can't help. Sure, in there is the odd client that you can help. But what happens when you drift net too is that especially in referral situations where there's a lot of referrals going on, a lot of pitches happening, is that you get lost in the crowd. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you stand out. And as a lot of small business owners, what we tend to do is we tend to pull back and back and back so that we can capture every little piece of business that might be vaguely in the area of expertise that we have. Now, how's that working for you? Because I know a lot of business owners who go in with that mentality hoping to catch something, and it's really a lot of time and effort that they're putting in for a lack of results. What we need to do is we need to reverse that theory. And it's almost counterintuitive as a small business owner because we suddenly go, but what about all the stuff we're missing? What I can tell you is when you go with this particular strategy, you get even more work in those areas as well. Because what you need to do, guys, is you need to go in with a hook. And by a hook, I don't mean a catchy little phrase that that gets people to remember you. What I mean is, in a fishing parlance, we were going in with a drift net and catching everything that got in the way. What you need to do is go in and drop one single hook with the right bait for the right client at the right time. Now, when I speak to a lot of small business owners, they suddenly get worried that they're going to miss all the other fish that are flying around. But if you go in knowing that this one particular fish that you want is perfect for you, produces good profit for you, and they're easy to work with for your business, and why wouldn't you want more of them? Why would you chase more of the things that are half right or not as profitable or more of a pain to work with? Because when you go in with one little hook with a specific piece of bait on it, you'll discover very quickly that that's the fish that you attract out of the school of fish that might be sitting in front of you. I was at a networking dinner recently, hadn't been with this particular group before, and we got asked to stand up, introduce ourselves, what our business was, and give us a quick spiel on what you do. We were sitting at a really long table. There was about 30 of us at this table, and it started basically directly opposite me. So I knew I had 10 or 15 people before I needed to get up and speak. And the first person stood up, and they said, "Hi, I'm X from Y Business, and we do A, B, and C." Fantastic. The second person got up and said, "Hi, I'm X from Y Business and we do A, B and C." Now obviously X, Y and A, B and C, they were different, but it was the same format. Person number 3 got up. "Hi, I'm X from Y and we do A, B, C." Now, there's a couple of things that are happening here. From your brain perspective, your brain is now sensing a pattern. Hi, I'm X from Y and I do ABC. So your brain starts to get to the point where it thinks it knows what's coming. Even though the X, Y and ABC are different, it senses the pattern of ba-ba-ba, 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 and it goes, okay, I know how this song goes. So your brain starts to go off in a different direction of what shall I order for my main, or did I leave the kettle on, or what am I going to do tomorrow, or when do I pick up the kids? Whatever it is, your brain now stops listening. Now that's okay for you, but of course the person who's just spoken doesn't want your brain wandering off. So I was watching this work its way around, and me being me, I thought, cool, I need to do something different here to break up this pattern. And this pattern pretty much continued right through until it got to me. And I stood up. And I said, I'm only speaking to one of you right now. I'm speaking to the person who's trying to work out how they get out of this long bench seat so they can go and hide in the toilet so they accidentally miss their chance to stand up and introduce themselves. Hi, I'm Fraser from the Public Speaking Institute, and I work with people who are scared of public speaking to bring out their real message, to show you how you can bring confidence to your presentation because you have a great business and people need to know about it. So if you've been working out how you can hide this accidentally so that you don't need to be involved in this little introduction, then I need to speak to you after this because I can show you how to get your business to the fore and make the most of this. And I sat down and it continued. Hi, I'm X from Y. Off it went. What was really interesting is we had a break not long after that, and 29 people in the room didn't come up and speak to me. One person did. And she walked up to me and she said, oh my God, how did you know? How did you know I was trying to work out how to get to the toilet? Now, I didn't. I didn't know she was there. I didn't know who she was. What I did was I used my expertise in human behaviour. I used my expertise in public speaking, what I'm good at, and I surmised in that situation, what would my ideal client be thinking? What would my ideal client be doing? And how do I talk to them? Because you have that skill in your business. You know your business. You have the knowledge around your clients, the pains that they have. So talk to them. What the rest of the business owners there, what they were doing is they were trying to garner interest from 30 people. Now, most of them probably didn't. What I was doing was making sure that if that one person was in the room, they would come up to me and ask me, what do I do? So suddenly you've gained some power because the client is coming to ask you, and she did. And we had the conversation around where she was at, where she wanted to be and what her business was, and we organised the time to catch up for coffee and have a deeper conversation. Because that's the second thing that happens. People are trying to make the sale on the spot. Try to pique some interest in people so that they come to you and you can then go into your sales process or your education process. But it's about getting rid of that fear of missing out, going in with one specific hook for that specific referral in that specific situation that you could almost bet your bottom dollar who will be there for the night. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have different hooks. It doesn't mean that you can't use different stories and different referrals and different clients at different events. Have a look at the event that you're walking into and guesstimate, using your knowledge and skills of your area of expertise, who's going to be in the room and pitch that hook in. Now, if you're going somewhere like BNI where we turn up 40 to 50 times a year, it's week in, week out, then you can change these hooks week in, week out. But that's not what I would suggest. I'd suggest tweaking these hooks ever so slightly over a month or so, but we'll go into more depth through that. So use different hooks, just don't use them at the same time. When people get up to do the pitch, they think it's about being perfect, and we need to remove that from our psyche because I'll guarantee you that it won't be perfect. And the time it is, you won't be able to repeat it. This is what I do for a living, and I'm not perfect. Okay, we need to get rid of the idea that this needs to be right. You watch this presentation today and there'll be things in here, there'll be little trips that I make, there'll be little words that I don't use, there'll be bits that I stumble, but it's me and it's real and it's one take. I will do this in one take and you will get everything that is raw and real about me coming through here. So forget about trying to script and memorize a perfect pitch, because the people who do that, they're called actors and they get paid a lot of money for being able to do it and make it look convincing. Most of us, and I have an acting background, struggle to make it look real, as though we are living that for the first time, and that's what it needs to be. So come back to it and use a key message. What do you want your audience to walk away with today? And just have 3 dot points. The 3 dot points that will just bring you back. It's okay to look down and have notes every now and then. I've got notes here on my screen just to keep me on track. What I don't have is a full script. I have a couple of dot points on these slides, and the slides actually remind me what I'm going to be talking about. That's how you start to become more natural. We all invest a lot of money in brand management. We invest a lot of money in our logo, in our tagline, in our marketing, in our website, and so we should. What we can't do, though, is just take the language that is used in those places and use it in a face-to-face situation, because those words are designed to be read, and when you speak, they come across in a different way. So you don't need to abandon all of that by any stretch of the imagination, but you need to recraft it slightly so that the words sound natural coming out of your mouth. Because the aim, as I mentioned in the story before, is to get people to approach you. It's not to make the sale. The idea is to pique interest. It's not a sales pitch. You want to pique interest in the right people so that they come to you at the end of the event and ask you more. Then you start your process. This is just the ad in the newspaper, it's the Facebook ad, it's whatever it is that piques the interest for people to come and find out more. If we can change the idea that this is a sales pitch into I want to educate and pique interest, you will find your results will change. Stop trying to sell in that 60 seconds and start to pique interest so you can go into a full sales conversation where you are very good and very knowledgeable at what you do. You cannot cram all that knowledge and information into 60 seconds and be engaging at the same time. We're going to show you how you can do that as we go forward. Let me share with you the 3 things that you can change right now that will make drastic results to your pitch working. That will get you the results that start to change the results you're getting from your networking, the return on investment that you're getting from that time, effort, and cash that you're putting into developing a referral network. And I've covered them already as we've gone through, but let's go into a little bit more depth. The first one should be easy, but from a human behavior point of view, it's one of the hardest things for us to do. And you will already know people who are doing this who are getting great results because you watch them in the room. And it's what you're getting from me today. You know what the tip is? The first thing that you need to change is you need to be yourself. Almost warts and all. Maybe not warts, but definitely all. The person that you're getting in this video today, the person that you're getting in this training, the phraser that you're seeing, when you meet me at a referral event, when you meet me at networking, when you come to one of my workshops, this is still the person you get. You don't get a whole other, this is not a facade, and you get a whole other phraser when you meet me. Across all of my marketing, across me as a human, across me in presentations, you will know you're hearing the same person because I'm being me. Sure, there's little tiny edges that I sand off, but there's not a public speaking professional phraser that turns up who is a complete different person from the phraser that you would meet in any other walk of life. Being yourself is one of the hardest things because we're worried about getting judged. We're worried about people thinking bad of us or getting things wrong, and that being attached to who we are. People will overcome all of those things listening to you if you are being genuine, if you are being authentic. And authentic is a word that's bandied around a lot these days, and it's so accurate, but it can be so misused. You need to be authentic to who you are. You need to be authentic to your knowledge, and you need to be authentic representing your clientele. Because people can sense it. People know when you're being authentic and when you are putting on a facade or being false. So the first tip here is, guys, get in, take the pressure off and just be you. The second thing that you can do is be specific. We spoke about that with the drift net and the hook. You want to aim at that one little red lady in the middle there. You want to be addressing her concerns. You want to be addressing her problems and the results she's looking for. Because if you can get her on board as a client, you will notice that she is attached to all those other people. When we driftnet, we're trying to capture all those people at once, and I can tell you it very rarely happens. So let's capture the red lady, let's drop the hook in, let's hook her and sell her and show her how awesome we are, and then let her tell everybody else. Because the funny thing about her telling everybody else is it carries more weight than us telling everybody else ourselves how good we are. That's why testimonials work, that's why case studies work, that's why reviews work, because we will, funnily enough, trust either a total stranger or a friend so much more than we'll trust the business owner who's trying to sell to us. So utilize that to your advantage. Get this one person in this state, get this one red lady in the middle there, get her on board and show her what you do. And you do that by using that one specific hook. Short term, you'll feel as though you're losing business, as though you're missing out. But I can tell you, long term, that snowball starts to roll, that quality that you provide starts to roll, people start to talk, and it grows itself. So it's a little bit of short-term patience for a much better long-term gain. The third thing that I notice that people do wrong so often when they're talking about their business is in features and benefits. And there's a really key difference here because our audience, our clients, don't actually care too much about the features. There's a wonderful video with Simon Sinek called Start With Why, or The Golden Circle. Have a look, it's about 18 minutes long, it's TEDx and YouTube. It is fantastic, but it really boils down to exactly what I'm going to discuss here. The features are what things are. So it's all the things you do in your business. So as a bookkeeper, you will be taking people's receipts and you'll be returning their BAS and you'll be recording their annual statement to go to the accountant. Blah, 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 blah. It's the things that you do. It's the things we can measure, and it's the things that are basically almost tangible. And that's what we start to list. And when you go to a website or you see a van of a tradie with all the things, it's the things that they do. As clients, most of the time we actually don't care about what you do. We are hiring you to do that. We don't mind how you do that because that's your area of expertise. It's not mine, which is why I've hired you to do it and haven't done it myself. But from a pitching point of view, from a referral point of view, from a 60 seconds point of view, it's not attractive. We switch off because it's based in logic. And the mind goes, cool, yep, know that, or assume that, or don't need to know that. When you can start your referrals, when you can start your pitches, when you can start to land on benefits, it's a whole different ballgame. Because benefits are what it does for the client. And your client has a problem, and what they want is a result. You sit in the middle. They don't care too much about how the middle works. They care about the fact that you take away their pain and you give them this result, and they pay you whatever they pay you. How you do that is why you're good at your job, but it's not important to most clients. So we need you to start talking about the benefits. So what I do in public speaking, and I can talk about my techniques, and I can talk about the structures I can give you, and I can talk about all these things that are easily listable. You know really what I do? Is I help attach you back to your self-belief. Because once you have self-belief, you generate confidence. Imagine standing up where you are presenting as a confident, congruent, happy person who's willing to be up there. That's going to change the way you present. That's going to change the results that you get. And what that's doing is that's tapping into a heart space. That's tapping into an emotion. Rather than me coming in and saying, hi, what I do is I give you a 3-point structure that allows you to talk really quickly and on point and get more business. Doesn't resonate with you anywhere near as much. That's the how. You need to tap into the benefits. You need to tap into the why. Because if you're doing networking on a regular basis, and I come back to BNI, we get the chance at BNI to talk to our group 40 to 45 times at least a year. Now, if each one of those is 60 seconds, that's 45 minutes of education we get to give to our audience. And the trap I watch too many BNI members step into is that they do a generic driftnet 45 times. It becomes repetitive, it becomes boring, and we switch off because it's too wide for us to attach something specific to. What you've got to look at in BNI specifically, or any networking event that's regularly, is you need to break down the number of events that you've got and treat that as though that's the entire story. That's the book. So whether it's a monthly networking, then you've got 12 chapters in that book, whether it's a weekly networking and you've got 45 odd chapters in that book, it's what happens during the entire book. You can't get into every single chapter. But when you put those chapters together, you get the entire story. So what I would be suggesting to you is to go in and look, what are the benefits you create for your clients? Each one of those benefits is one of these paragraphs or chapters. Go in on a really specific benefit on a really specific client and talk about that this week, rather than pulling back to anyone who or everyone who. Get in and talk about the specific person that you are looking for. And then next week do it again for a different specific person. And go on and go forth. Now my strategy in BNI, because we get 45 times, is I actually tell a different story for a month, but I base it on the same referral. So I'm talking about the same type of client. So I don't jump from what I want is a huge corporate thing back to a mum and dad store, back to local, back to international in a month. What I'll do is I'll talk about, for instance I'll talk about the corporate client for 4 weeks. I'll have a slightly different story each time, but the same basic referral of what I'm looking for is a corporate client who's got this problem. And I'll do that 4 weeks in a row because the human mind loves the repetitive, in the sense that it starts to ingrain into us. The more we hear something, the more we understand it. So rather than bouncing all over the spectrum every single week, I will talk about something for a couple of weeks in a row, and then I'll bounce to something else for a couple of weeks in a row. And if you can do that, you'll find that it lands better with people because of that repetitive nature. They will remember it. Now, there's a real trick to structuring a 60-second presentation. And for me, it breaks down to 3 particular points. You've got the introduction, who you are, what you do. You've got story, which is around the problem that a client had and how you solved it, or what the result was when you solved it, And then specifically around BNI, you've got your referral request. Who is this ideal client? Let's go into a little bit more depth about how you do those 3 things in 60 seconds, because it is a skill you will need to practice, but it's a skill that every single one of you possess. So let's start with the introduction. Far too many people putting far too many things into their introduction. The members of your networking group, of your BNI chapter, know where you are, know where you work, know where to find you. It's on your business card, it's on your website, and you've probably said it in the room before. They don't need that every week. For visitors in the room, you just need to position them so that they know what you're talking about in your story. So are you a plumber? Are you an accountant? Are you a videographer? That's all they really need. So I recommend start so simply with, "Hi, I'm Fraser, name, from the Public Speaking Institute," and leave it there. I wouldn't go into territories, I wouldn't go into shop location, I wouldn't go into any of that stuff, because 60 seconds is not long. And people can come up and ask you all of that later, or look it up on your website. So I would start with, "Hi, I'm Fraser from the Public Speaking Institute," because the members who are there week in, week out already know. And the visitor, it just puts you into a little area, a little, what's the word I'm looking for? A little cubby hole? A pigeonhole. That's where I was going. A little pigeonhole, so they know that the rest of the story bases around that. You're going to have to fight an instinct to keep talking, but get in and get out on who you are, because you are just taking up too much of your 60 seconds where it can be used in the second section, which is story. Story has been used for millennia within humans to pass down information, and it works because it attaches to our emotion. If I come out and give you a list of facts, you will struggle to repeat more than a couple of them. If I put the same list of facts and wrap them into a story, you will be able to recount most of them. Think about a time in your life, and you won't necessarily relate the facts around that time, but you'll be able to relate the story and how and why it happened, and the facts are embedded in it. Stories work. If we take the benefits that we discussed earlier and we wrap them into a story, then we are away. We are connecting to people in that room. So here's how I want you to construct your story. First of all, you need to be specific. We spoke about this earlier. Get right in on one specific little problem. And it may seem to you that it's far too specific, but if that's how you feel, you've probably nailed it. Get right in. So if you're a plumber, don't talk about pipe problems in general. Talk about pipe problems on renovated properties that were built in the 1970s. Get right in on that, because then you can start telling the story around that. And the key to telling a really good story is be descriptive. So let's go with that. I was working recently at a house. It was built in the 1970s. It was brick. It had that funny red veneer, and the tiles were the same colour as they've always been in that era. A lot of moss growing over it. Someone had bought this particular property as a renovator's delight. So you can imagine when I stepped into it, what it looked like. You can see the mould on the walls. Describe this so that people are there with you. They're standing in that house. Don't just say, I worked recently on a house, because you've got to get us involved. So be really descriptive and paint a picture around what it is you're doing. You don't just want to paint the picture, but you want to paint the problems. So let's continue with our story there. We're starting to show you that this is a renovator's delight. It's got a lot of problems. So we start to talk about those. So there was, I could see water coming in on the walls, and I could see that there was a lot of water contained in the back garden, but they didn't have a swimming pool, but it's kind of what it looked like. So we're starting to see that there's a lot of problems in this particular building, and most of it was going to relate to the drainage. What you want to be doing while you're painting these problems is evoking the feelings of someone's bought this property in this instance. Someone's bought it as a renovator's delight, and there are more problems in it than they thought. So what are the feelings that person's going to be having? They're going to be watching, they're going to be thinking depressed because their profit margin's going down. They're going to think that this lovely investment they made is going to end up costing them money. Costing them money is not a happy thought, because that cuts their profit margin and what they were going to do with that profit. So get in and evoke the feelings of what's going on with your client. Excuse me. I told you, one take, and sneezes included. So be really specific in your story, be descriptive, paint the problems, and evoke the feelings. Then we move on to the final part of our 60 seconds, and that story should take you around 45 seconds. Your intro takes you 2 seconds. So you've got 47 seconds there, which allows you 10 to 13 seconds for your referral. Now, especially at BNI meetings, it's incredibly important to have your referral, because that's who you're sending people out to find. Simply, your referral is the person who was in the story. So in this instance, with our plumber going into this 1970s home, his referral wouldn't be, I'm looking for commercial builders, because that's not who his story was. His referral in this story would be, I'm looking for people who invest and flip older properties, who want to keep their costs down on the flip so that they can make more money. I specialise in houses from 1970, whatever it is. But you want to make sure that the referral is the person in the story. And if for any reason you get carried away in your story and don't get to your referral because your time runs out, it should have been blatantly obvious who your referral was, because you've talked about them in your story. Now, you don't want to run out of time too often. You want to make sure that you're getting this referral in. And with your referral, tell people what they'll be listening for. So if they're at a barbecue and they hear someone say, I'm renovating this house and it just is costing me too much money. That's an ideal referral, for instance. Tell them what they're hearing, because that will trigger in their brain what they need to listen for. So they're the 3 steps, guys. Intro, story, and referral. 2 seconds, 45 seconds, 13 seconds. Okay? Little room to move there, but you want to make sure that you're keeping them and giving as much room to that story as you possibly can. Because those who tell the stories rule society. And Plato said that, as you can see from there. But it's a step better than that. People who tell good stories. People who can paint the picture. They're the guys who rule society, because especially in a marketing realm, especially in a business realm, when you can paint the problems of your audience and then paint the solution of where they want to be and say, I get you there. You don't need to talk about how you get them there in this, but you want to make sure that you paint the problem so they're attached to it, and paint where you can get them. Because that's what they're paying you for. They're paying you to take them through that journey to where they want to be. So when you come up with this, guys, have your key message, which is who that referral is. Have 3 points in your story that you want to make sure that you hit, so that you've just got those little notes in front of you. You can refer and glance down at them. That's okay. It's not unprofessional. There's too many people who think if I use a note, it looks bad. Using notes is fine. When you read your entire presentation from behind a piece of paper or a piece of paper, you have no engagement. You need to be looking at your audience most of the time. Now, if that requires you to glance down every now and then to make sure you're on, that's fine. But you don't want to be reading it down here. If that helps you stay on track, use it. I've always got a couple of notes just scribbled down on my page to make sure that if I get into it and I'm not sure where I'm going, I can glance down and get back on track. Because in 60 seconds, you don't have the chance to get off track. Because the minute you do, you've started to lose time on the way through. So guys, that's my presentation for today. Those 3 things: be yourself, be specific, and really focus in on the benefits that you give people, and you will find this will change. You will find what you do alters, and the results you get from your referral networking will change. If you'd like to know more, there's a couple of things I'm going to offer you today. My Ultimate Speaker's Blueprint book, which is there with my lovely daughter. It's one of those things. I'm a very proud dad of a little 2-year-old girl, and I like to see how I can get her into presentations. So she's sitting there with the hardcover copy of the book. But what I'd like to do today, guys, is offer you the ebook, which is through that link, bit.ly/USB ebook. $9.97, guys. You can download that. It's also available as a Kindle version, which you can find through Amazon. It's going to start to help you build the skills around, the mindset around, and the structure around how you do these 60-second presentations, because they are a key part of the networking investment that you are making. And unless you make them effective, you will continue to network and get mediocre results, which is not what you want for your business. It's not what you want for your profit or for your life. The second thing I'd like to offer you today for coming through and taking these tips on board, guys, is a PDF program that I've put together. It's pretty in-depth, so it's not something that you're going to be able to just jump on and do in 10 minutes. But what this Create Your Signature talk does, it is perfect for working out what you discuss in these little 60 seconds. It's also really designed to put together long 10 to 45-minute presentations about what you do. But remember, it's not about what you do. It's about why you do it and the difference that you make. And what this program does is it shows you how to take your values. Firstly, it shows you how to elicit those values both for yourself and your business. It shows you how to take the benefits that you give clients and then wrap all that into stories. Because when you get up on stage and you tell, this is who I am, this is the story, and this is who I help, you start to lose people on the way through. So what this PDF shows you is how to wrap all of this stuff into ongoing stories, which means you've got people's interest all the way through, whether it's 10 minutes, 45 minutes, or 90 minutes. Now what this does, guys, it also comes with a coaching session with myself. So you can hook me up at the start, the middle, or the end of going through this document, and there are videos, there are worksheets. This is very much going to show you step by step how to put this together in a way that will help you stand out from the crowd in a really positive way around your business. The more time you put into this, the more effort and thought you put into this, the better will be the result. Now, I normally sell this at $297, which, as I said, includes a coaching session with me. What I'm doing today, guys, if you jump on to that the website that I'll show you on the next page, I'm going to give it to you for $50 off, which is $148.50, which is actually less than it costs a coaching session with me. And you get the PDF, and you get the worksheets, and you get all the videos. All you got to do is pop in the code MYTALK at checkout, and that will give you that 50% off, because I know, having sat through this and taken notes through this and got value out of this, that you are ready for this particular Create Your Signature talk, and you're ready to stand out from the crowd. Because let's face it, beige just doesn't cut it anymore. You're sick of being part of this, and if you're putting all this time and effort into your networking, let's get you some results. And surely a $150 investment, with most businesses, you don't even need a client, an extra client to cover that and go well beyond it. And this is going to get you so much more than one client, because you're going to start talking to the emotions behind people. You're going to start getting really clear for people on why they should use you and why you do what you do. I'm a member of the Professional Speakers Australia, and as such, I get a wonderful membership with Shutterstock for nothing, as long as I give them credit. So, guys, everything you've seen today, short of the logos and a lovely picture of my daughter, has been provided by Shutterstock. And if you are looking for stock images that are a cut above the rest and a cut above Google, go to Shutterstock. Sure, cost you more than downloading them for nothing from Google, but you get quality images that not everybody else is using, and that's what you want to be, standing apart. Thank you for your time today. I trust you've got amazing value, and I really look forward to seeing you apply this in your 60-second referrals, in your pitches, in your networking, and in your stage presence as you go forward. There are those 2 links right away there, guys, so you can go on and jump onto the ebook, bit.ly/USB ebook, and for the signature, create your signature talk program, bit.ly YC signature, and when you go to the checkout, just type in my talk and you'll get that for 50%. It allows you to download all the videos, all the PDFs, all the worksheets, and there's a booking form on there to grab your session with me so that I can help you unlock your signature talk. Guys, I trust you've got great value out of that. I've thoroughly enjoyed presenting with you today, and I look forward to seeing your 60-second presentation.